The studio of Lorraine was alive with its usual morning buzz, bright lights, pastel set pieces, and a faint aroma of coffee and flowers drifting from catering. The crew moved with practiced precision, adjusting cameras and microphones, whispering cues into headsets, and running through last-minute checks. Lorraine Kelly herself, ever the image of poise and cheer, floated across the set in her perfectly tailored dress, greeting crew members with a bright smile and an encouraging word. She had a habit of turning every tense or mundane morning into something that felt warm and personal, and today was no exception. The audience had arrived early, filling the seats with murmurs and rustling programs, and the energy was palpably positive. This morning's guest was Eugene Levy. The very name carried a promise of charm, wit, and professionalism. He had long been revered for his ability to blend comedy with heart, for his capacity to make audiences laugh while remaining entirely dignified. Lorraine had interviewed him before and anticipated the same easy rapport. The producers had predicted a smooth, cheerful segment that would leave viewers both amused and inspired. But there was a subtle tension as Eugene entered the set. It was nothing overt, nothing dramatic, but Lorraine sensed it immediately: the stiffness in his shoulders, the slightly forced lift of his eyebrows, the way he adjusted his glasses more than once. He moved with the precision of someone accustomed to being on camera, yet today, every motion felt weighed down by a layer of caution. "Eugene, lovely to have you back with us," Lorraine began, her voice bright and inviting as always. She settled into her signature chair, crossing her legs elegantly. "How are you this morning?" Eugene smiled politely, but the smile didn't quite reach his eyes. Good, thank you. Glad to be here." His voice was calm, controlled, but the subtle edge in it was unmistakable to anyone paying attention. Lorraine, ever observant, didn't miss it, though she chose to give it space for now. They began with the standard opening pleasantries, questions about his recent projects, his travel experiences, and the renewed appreciation from a younger generation discovering his work for the first time. Eugene responded graciously, peppering his answers with light jokes and gentle humor, the kind that had endeared him to audiences for decades. Yet, there was a careful precision to his words, a sense that he was walking a tightrope over something unspoken. Then Lorraine shifted gears, sliding a question into what she intended as playful banter. "Now, Eugene," she said with a teasing lilt, "you've become quite the unexpected heartthrob lately. Fans can't get enough of the silver hair, the glasses, the charming, dad-ish vibe. How does it feel to be a heartthrob at your age?" The audience tittered in response, anticipating Eugene's self-deprecating humor, expecting laughter to follow. But Eugene froze, just for a fraction of a second, and Lorraine caught it. His posture stiffened, shoulders drawing back slightly, hands tightening around the arms of his chair. There was a pause. He was measuring his response carefully, choosing his words with deliberate care. "Well," he said slowly, each word deliberate, "I'm not sure I appreciate being reduced to vibes." Lorraine blinked, a little surprised. "Oh, it's all in good fun. Just a compliment." Eugene's expression remained calm but resolute. "It may be fun to you, but I've spent decades building a career on my craft, my work, and my characters, not on how appealing I look as a father figure or a silver-haired comedic man." His tone was soft but firm, and the weight of it filled the studio in a way that silenced the audience for a brief moment. Lorraine, ever quick on her feet, chuckled lightly. "Oh, come on, Eugene, don't take yourself too seriously. It's just a bit of banter." Banter. The word, intended to diffuse, instead landed with the subtle sting of dismissal. Eugene leaned forward slightly, elbows resting on his knees, gaze steady. Banter is fine when it's mutual, when it's meant as playful teasing between equals. But when it reduces decades of work into a punchline for entertainment purposes, that's no longer banter. That's objectification. The audience shifted, the murmurs growing. Lorraine felt a flicker of discomfort. This was not how she had rehearsed the segment, not the light, cheerful energy she had anticipated. Yet she tried to maintain composure. Objectification? Eugene, darling, it was a joke. Everyone adores you. Eugene's voice sharpened just slightly, though it remained polite. Being adored is not a license to misrepresent who I am, or what I've worked for. I didn't come here to be made fun of. I came here to discuss my projects, my work, my experiences. And yet, I find myself suddenly a subject of ridicule for qualities I did not choose to commodify. The audience's murmurs grew louder. Crew members shifted uneasily behind the cameras. Lorraine's smile flickered, her practiced diplomacy straining at the edges. "I'm sorry you feel that way, Eugene, but surely you understand that a little humor is part of the show. Eugene's eyes narrowed slightly, a quiet intensity settling over his features. There is humor, and then there is disrespect masked as humor. When it comes at the expense of my dignity, that crosses a line. I've been gracious countless times, laughing off things that bothered me, and today I'm simply stating that enough is enough. Lorraine tilted her head, her own irritation creeping beneath the surface, though she kept it veiled with a calm exterior. Well, if you're that sensitive, perhaps morning television isn't the right venue. Eugene sat upright, incredulous, the weight of disbelief flashing across his face. Sensitive. I am expressing my limits. I am communicating discomfort directly, and it is being dismissed as sensitivity. There's a fundamental difference. The studio had gone quiet. Even the camera operators seemed to hold their breath. Lorraine opened her mouth, then paused, struggling to regain control. Eugene, I meant no harm. We celebrate your work. Everyone here adores you. I'm asking for respect, not celebration, Eugene said calmly but firmly. I will not sit here and be objectified or trivialized under the guise of affection or humor. I expect professionalism. The line had been crossed. The audience gasped collectively, the tension hanging thick in the air. Lorraine attempted a smile, an anchor, but it faltered. Eugene, resolute and composed, unhooked his microphone with a swift motion that seemed final. I'm done, he said. He stood from his chair with a fluid grace that belied the tension simmering beneath. Without waiting for any response, without looking back, Eugene Levy walked off the stage, leaving Lorraine sitting frozen in her chair, the audience erupting into murmurs of shock, curiosity, and confusion. Backstage, the moment Eugene Levy's polished shoes hit the studio floor, the tension in his shoulders began to loosen, though only slightly. He walked briskly, not in anger, but with the determined pace of someone who had made a clear decision and refused to back down. The buzz of the studio, the quiet hum of the cameras, the crew shuffling cables, the low murmur of the audience waiting for the segment to resume, faded behind him. Each step felt like a small reclamation of control, a statement that while the show might have been live and full of flashing cameras, he alone would decide how he was treated. Eugene, wait, his producer, Malcolm, hurried to catch up, his tie slightly askew from the frantic pace of production. He gestured toward the studio doors with a pleading expression. Please, just give us a few minutes. We can smooth this over. We can make it look like it was all a misunderstanding. Eugene stopped mid-stride, turned, and fixed Malcolm with a steady gaze, the kind of calm but pointed look that could halt conversation cold. Smooth it over. Malcolm, she insulted me on air. Not once, but twice. That isn't something you smooth over with a few words or a brief apology. His voice was low, precise, without melodrama, yet it carried the weight of decades in the business. He had spent his career navigating the absurdities of Hollywood, and this felt different. This was a line that had been crossed in a public forum, and there was no ignoring it. Malcolm opened his mouth, hesitated, and then tried again. I know, Eugene, I know. Lorraine didn't intend. Intent isn't impact, Eugene interrupted, his tone clipped but calm. I've been in this industry long enough to know the difference between what someone means and how their words land. Today, her words landed on me as dismissive, belittling, and, if I'm honest, patronizing. And I will not stand for that. He shook his head slightly, exhaling through his nose, a quiet gesture of both frustration and resolve. Behind them, interns and stagehands paused in their tasks, pretending not to watch but unable to look away. Eugene Levy rarely displayed this kind of public displeasure. He was known for his charm, his humor, his gentle wit. Seeing him so firm, so unyielding, was a reminder to everyone in the studio that even the nicest people had limits. Lorraine herself appeared around the corner, her heels clicking against the studio floor in rapid, purposeful steps. Her expression was a careful balance of professionalism and concern, though her eyes betrayed the first flickers of unease. Eugene, she said, her voice a practiced mix of warmth and urgency, can we talk for a moment? Eugene turned slowly, maintaining that quiet authority. We already have. Lorraine stepped closer, her composure intact but with a subtle tightening of her jaw. Look, I didn't mean to offend you. Truly, I was only teasing. Everyone knows you're loved. We all respect you. That's not what this is about, Eugene said, voice steady, his gaze unwavering. I am asking for respect. I came here to discuss my work, my career, the things that matter to me professionally. I did not come here to be reduced to a punchline for amusement. His tone was calm, almost gentle, yet it carried an undeniable firmness that left no room for negotiation. Lorraine's eyes narrowed slightly, her professional mask flickering with a flash of frustration. "Eugene, you embarrassed me on live television," she said. There was a tension in her voice, an acknowledgement that she felt exposed, her authority on the set challenged in a very public way. "And you belittled me," Eugene replied, equally steady. "There is a difference between playful teasing and undermining someone's dignity. I am not here to be demeaned under the guise of humor or banter."